Okay, so welcome to Module 5 of Adaptive Behaviours. What I'm going to do today is talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we've covered previously and also talk about some behaviours that we really want you to focus on when you think about adaptive behaviours. So we've covered some of these topics a little bit. We've talked about self-awareness and having empathy and unconscious bias and all those types of things, building rapport that can all really help with adaptive behaviours. But there's 6 things I want to focus on today, just in a quick sort of snapshot. The first one is self-awareness. We've talked about it before. I'm going to keep saying it. To have adaptive behaviours, you have to understand what's going on for yourself. So you need to take the time to actually understand, who am I? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? What's going on for me? Because if you don't understand that and you're not noticing what's going on, you won't notice when you need to adapt your behaviours. Okay, so the first one is focus on your self-awareness and the self-management that goes with that. So if you're going to react to something, for example, take 3 deep breaths and really pause before you react. So that's the first one of those adaptive behaviours I want you to focus on. The second thing I want you to focus on is having a positive outlook. So we talked about the power of choice in that previous week. So this is really what the power of choice is about, is focusing on having a positive outlook. And sometimes that's ridiculously hard. And it's not about not acknowledging what might be going on for you or pretending to be a Pollyanna where you're happy all the time. I'm not talking about that, but I am talking about really starting to focus on having a more positive outlook. There's been some interesting research done over the years that suggests that people that have a more positive outlook are more optimistic and are happier, tend to live longer. So I want you to really focus on how can I have a more positive outlook? What's the choice I have around how I'm feeling, and how can I change my state? How can I go for a walk outside or go listen to some music or go play with my dogs or my kids or something like that and actually make myself feel better so I have a more positive outlook in my life. The third thing is then honing in around your adaptability. So starting to think about and really focus on what are the times that you've actually been really adaptive. We talked about in the first module things like having your resume up on LinkedIn, or maybe blogging, or using all the different new systems that we have at work, or having smartphones, WhatsApping, Instagramming, all those things. You've effectively adapted your behavior if you've used any of those things. So you can do it already. You do have adaptive behaviors already. So what I want you to do is really start to focus on what are the things that I'm actually showing myself I can be quite adaptive around, and how to challenge yourself in terms of doing something different or approaching something in a different way so that you adjust your adaptability. A really easy thing to do would be to take your mouse and switch it over and put it in the other hand and have a go at using the other hand. Even little things like that can give us confidence and show us that we do have an ability to actually adapt and use our neuroplastic brains to try different things. The fourth piece I want you to focus on around adaptive behaviours is empathy. And again, we've talked about that a little bit over the previous weeks, but your ability to be able to suspend judgment, to be able to understand somebody might be coming from a place that's a little bit different to you because of the life experience they've had. I always like to say that I've never walked in anyone else's shoes. I haven't had the sum total of experience that they've had in their life. So I need to try and suspend my judgment and have empathy for how they might be reacting. Sometimes we might look at people and go, geez, why are they reacting? I remember a situation, I was doing a workshop with a group of people and they were talking about how they couldn't believe someone had a bad reaction to the staff cafeteria disappearing and stuff like that. And we were just talking through how to have empathy in that situation and understand that there might have been something about that provided a lot of comfort to that person. So having empathy, I'm not talking about sympathy where you're diving into the emotion with someone, but having the ability to recognize somebody might feel a different way to you and have some empathy, saying things like, oh, I can understand that might be upsetting for you, or just having that ability to stop and understand how somebody else might be thinking about can help us really adapt our behaviors. The fifth one I want to talk to you about is conflict management. And again, we'll cover some more of this material in later modules or earlier modules that you might do, but just the ability to actually manage conflict a little bit better. So if you think about, we talk about emotional intelligence quite a bit. So if you think about our ability to have social awareness and relationship management and be really good at that, conflict management is our ability to manage conflict well. And in really constructive workplaces, it's good to have conflict. I'm not talking about fisticuffs conflict. I'm just talking about the ability to have a disagreement with someone that's not personal but about the situation or about the topic. So starting to really focus on how you're honing your conflict management skills can really help with adaptive behaviour. And the last one is around influence. So how good are we at influencing other people? So our ability to adapt in the moment or in the situation can have a real impact on how we can influence other people. So if I go to influence somebody about something and I just try an approach and it doesn't work and I walk away, well, I'm not displaying really adaptive behaviors, am I? But if I kind of look at it and go, I've tried talking this way and they didn't get it, they looked like they wanted this, but then I come back a second time and I adapt my approach, or I go talk to someone else and say, how do you get this person across the line, and do those things, that can have a real impact in terms of our ability to influence other people. So that ability to influence is really about our approach to adapting and being able to adapt and flex. So again, thinking about building your influencing skills and your adaptive approach to how you're influencing people, those two things come really nicely together. Okay, so your focus for this week, and I know we've talked about 6 different sort of key things I want you to focus on. So I want you to take one of those things and just really focus on it for the week. It might be influence or conflict management or empathy, any of those things. I want you to take one of those 6 things, maybe talk to someone else at home or at work about it, and really focus on actually starting to build those skills. So have fun and look forward to seeing you next week for the wrap up.